Hello and good evening to you. Welcome to News 360. It's coming to you live on News Up here at Desawe in Kanda. My name is Alfred Akanti.
And I'm Natalie Ford. To look at the top stories this evening.
News 360 Headlines is brought to you by
Bank of Ghana takes over management of Unibank.
We have just appointed a new management for Unibank. It will be KPMG.
Defense Minister denies U.S. government is building a military base in Ghana as he lays agreement between two states on defense cooperations before Parliament.
Also ahead this evening, Supreme Court orders lawyers for former NCA board chairman and 4 others facing trial for causing financial loss to the states to file their statement of case within 2 weeks.
And on the foreign front, UK Parliamentary Committee calls on Facebook boss Mark Zuckerberg to give evidence about the use of personal data by Cambridge Analytica.
We've got the details of these stories for you here on News 360. We are streaming live all across the world on 3news.com. You can also watch us on TV3 Ghana, that's on Facebook, and on DSTV channel 279. Let's get started with our very first story this evening. And the Bank of Ghana has, effective today, appointed KPMG as official administrator for Unibank. The central bank says the appointment of KPMG is aimed at saving Unibank from immediate collapse and prevent potential depositors and other creditors. The measure is to ensure that the financial conditions of the bank does not create further risks for the entire financial system.
This is not an issue that started today. As I said, since 2015, I got here in 2017. So the people who were here before me had problems. And these are things that we have inherited. These are the legacy issues of weak economic management and weak supervisory standards, right? So there are problems that we have inherited that we have to fix. And we worked with them in the last year to try to rebuild capital, right? And this is what we tried to do for most of last year. So unfortunately, some of the data that we were given were apparently incorrect. So we have had to revise some of the assessments that were made in September. And since October, November, we have been having several meetings trying to give the Ghanaian indigenous banks an opportunity to continue operating. We are sensitive of that fact also. So we were not quick to act because we realized the importance of keeping financial institutions in the hands of Ghanaians. And this really would account for why, as a central bank, we are time before reaching this point. As I said, we are not liquidating the bank. We are saving the bank. We are just replacing the management team, so it's going to be an ongoing bank. And at the end of the day, we expect that the new team there, KPMG, if they are able to turn the bank around, we will have to ensure that it's given back to Ghanaian investors. We are not going to obviously approve a transaction which would mean handing Unibank to foreign investors. I think that is quite clear. I can give you my commitment on that. Whether action will be taken against the outgoing management, it's too early to say. The new team would go in there, then they would try to assess the state of the bank, the assets and liabilities of the bank, and see, if they can try to understand the reasons for why the bank continues to have the capital deficiency and liquidity problems. So it's too early to say.
Oh, this is developing, so there's going to be a lot more analysis of some aspects of the Bank of Ghana's statement that was read by the governor there. But meanwhile, there is a heavy security presence at Unibank head office here in Accra after the announcement of the takeover by the Bank of Ghana. Some of the branches which you see on the screens following a press conference by the Bank of Ghana earlier, indicating that the Bank of Ghana, in exercising of its powers under sections 107 and 108 of the Bank and Specialized Deposit Taking Institutions Act 2016, Act 930, with effect from Tuesday, 20th of March 2018, appointed KPMG as official administrator for Union Bank Ghana Limited. TV3 can report that heavily armed security men, including men in military uniform, are currently guarding the premises of some of the branches and the headquarters of Unibank. Efforts to speak with officials of Unibank prove futile because they are at the moment sometimes held in some crunch meetings. For what you see on your screens right now are some videos from some of the branches of Unibank.
Let's stay on this issue as the Ghana Association of Bankers says it will have an emergency meeting tomorrow to discuss the takeover of Unibank by the Bank of Ghana. President of the Ghana Bankers Association, Alhassan Andani, disclosed this in an interview with TV3.
So that's Alhassan Andani there talking about this. But let's just stay a bit further on this. And Anoto Champon is a banking consultant. He's joining me on the telephone now. Mr. Champon, good evening to you. Thank you very much for your time this evening. You are one of those who was not surprised about the turn of events, you say?
Well, surprised but not surprised. Not surprised that the Bank of Ghana has taken a decisive action in ensuring that depositors don't lose their money, and they feel things are not going right, so they brought in an administrator to try and straighten things. And once, within 6 months, they are able to return them to regulatory compliance, then it goes back to the owners and they move on from there.
Now, one of the things that we've decided to do and take responsibility on our part as a media house is to just calm the nerves and the panic and the tension that this comes with, reiterating the Bank of Ghana's assurance that, look, if you are a customer of Unibank, they are still in business, you can go tomorrow and still do your banking. But how do you expect them to handle the concerns and also the level of insecurity that comes with these developments because of UT Capital still being fresh in the minds of our viewers and Ghanaians generally?
Well, if anything, that should rather give them reassurance, because in UT Capital, nobody lost a penny. And in this case, too, the regulator has given a similar assurance that depositors' monies are secured, and therefore nobody is going to lose a penny. So this one shouldn't be any different from that one. And if anything at all, with the UT and Capital, there was a purchase and assumption where it was sold and GCB bought it. But in this case, they are still under the control of BOG, the Bank of Ghana. They have appointed a firm of auditors as administrators. They are going in to try and straighten things, and hopefully within 6 months, they should be able to finish their work.
Now, that's all other things being equal in the case. But what does this really mean? I mean, KPMG takes over the management of the bank. What happens to the management that was there at the Unibank before today and the staff of the bank as well? I mean, do you understand
well,
this?
With the staff of the bank, nothing happens to them. The management, they are being asked to step aside. As to the HR implications, I think that's one maybe the KPMG themselves or Bank of Ghana should be able to say. But the main thing is the depositors. And the depositors' interest is 100% covered. Nobody is losing a penny. And so once the depositors' interest is covered, the staff, will complement that. And apart from the top management, the staff, everybody will go about their normal business, except that they will be reporting to a different set of management as opposed to what they have been doing until today.
Champong, thank you for your time this evening. I'm grateful. Nana Otoe Champong is a banking consultant helping us with some further analysis of what's happening now. This developing story of the Bank of Ghana announcing the takeover of the management of UT Bank by KPMG. And we need to reiterate the Bank of Ghana's assurance for especially the customers of Unibank that they are still in business. These announcements sometimes comes with a lot of panic and fear and tension and the panic withdrawals, people queuing to go and take out their money. They are assuring that you don't need to be worried. They are still in business. But Natalie, you have a lot more detail in what the Bank of Ghana is saying.
Yes, definitely, Alfred. Good point there that one does not need to be worried. But we should note that this action by the Bank of Ghana does come at a particularly interesting time. If you recall, about 2 weeks ago, Unibank purported a takeover of ADB. So given those events and then this happening, it's quite an interesting time. I'm going to run us by the statement by the BOG on Unibank. Now, it says that the appointment of the official administrator has therefore become necessary due to the fact that Unibank has, among other things, persistently maintained a capital adequacy ratio below zero, currently negative at 24%, making it technically insolvent. And this contravenes Section 29 of Act 930, which requires a minimum capital requirement of 10% to be maintained at all times. And this is basically what necessitated the Bank of Ghana to take this action on Unibank. It persistently suffered liquidity shortfalls and breached its cash reserve requirement. As a result, Unibank has relied extensively on liquidity support over 2.2 billion Ghana cedis from the Bank of Ghana over the past 2 years to meet its recurring liabilities. The Bank of Ghana added that the bank's capital, that's Unibank's capital, has not even been close to 400 million cedis that's expected of them. Now, the Bank of Ghana's exposure to the bank was therefore underestimated by nearly 400 million Ghana cedis, as this amount was not reflected in its books, Alfred. And later on, would actually recall the series of events that led to the Bank of Ghana taking this action on Unibank, as it's quite an interesting development. But like you said, customers should not be worried because banking still goes on for now.
Absolutely. And the chronology of events will be very interesting to stay with us on. But 2 weeks ago, we were talking about the purported takeover of ADB by Unibank. And this time around, the story is the reverse. But earlier, banking consultant and lecturer Dr. Richmond Ituahene revealed on TV3's business analysis program, Business Focus, that some more commercial banks in the country are on liquidity support, but commended the Bank of Ghana for its efforts to strengthen the banking sector.
Dig deep into it. Most of the savings and loans are in crisis. Likewise, at least from reliable source, 5 of the universal banks are also in serious trouble, where the government, Bank of Ghana, is giving them liquidity support. Other than that, they will go like Capital Bank and UT Bank.
That same story of support was what was happening before UT Bank actually went into this particular state.
LLOR, lenders of last risk support. So clearing, they cannot even possibly meet clearing charges. So they are being supported. Very reliable source.
In other news, Parliament has approved a loan agreement of 13 million euros to finance the establishment of a deposit protection scheme in Ghana. The scheme is to protect depositors from potential losses and enable the Bank of Ghana promote a stable market-based financial system.
The loan has a repayment period of 30 years at an interest rate of 0.75% and commitment fee of 0.25% per annum. The Finance Committee observed that the fund will help reduce disruptions in the financial system arising from banking distress and bank failure and also contribute to financial stability. It will also increase confidence and trust in the financial sector while providing depositor protection. To ensure the sustainability of the scheme, banks and specialized deposit-taking institutions licensed by the Bank of Ghana would be required to make premium payments into the fund. The Depositors Protection Fund is part of the Deposit Protection Bill 2015, passed by Parliament in 2016, to protect depositors from unforeseen circumstances that may result in loss of funds. Members from both sides supported the idea. However, MP for Bolgatanga Central, Isaac Adongo, noted this would not have been necessary if the Bank of Ghana had been strict in its supervisory role.
That is the primary guidance for ensuring that banks and financial institutions do not fail. It is because when the Bank of Ghana is unable to function this way and allows these banks to go down that we have called upon to look for the money in order to protect depositors and not make sure that we don't have bank run aids.
But chairman of the Finance Committee had some clarifications.
What we are doing now is approving a loan that is going to be used as the seed fund for the deposit protection scheme. The honorable member on this floor all this while has been arguing about the deposit protection insurance and how unfair the insurance scheme is and matters that were dealt with when he was a committee member in 2016.
The Bank of Ghana annually pays even dividends to government. The Minister for Finance knows that. So why will you take this and say Bank of Ghana have it? The government of Ghana is guaranteeing this for you. They must have an on-lending agreement with the Bank of Ghana. This should not go for free.
Mr. Speaker, I will urge honorable members to look at the positive side for the purpose for which this loan is before this House.
Meanwhile, Parliament has also approved the formula for the disbursement of the National Health Insurance Fund for the year 2018. The authority expects to receive over 2.375 million cedis from the NHIL, SNITs and other sources to be able to execute its mandate for the year.
Now, Defense Minister Dominic Nitiwul has clarified the U.S. government is not building a military base in Ghana. This was after he laid before Parliament a paper for approval, an agreement between the government of Ghana and the United States on defense cooperation. The agreement, when ratified, will reaffirm the shared commitment of both countries to peace and stability.
The paper was laid by the Defense Minister Dominic Nitiwul.
Agreement between the government of the Republic of Ghana and government of the United States of America on defense cooperation, the status of the United States forces, access to and use of agreed facilities, areas in the Republic of Ghana.
The Speaker referred it to the Defense and Interior Committee and the Constitutional and Legal Affairs Committee for consideration. Some members suggested the Foreign Affairs Committee be added, but the Speaker disagreed. If approved by Parliament, the agreement will ensure access to and use of agreed facilities and areas by U.S. forces within Ghana, wide-ranging tax exemptions and U.S. military to use Ghana as a base of staging and deploying forces. This will also involve the facilitation of training, including maintaining unit readiness, continued exercises, and other military opportunities that Ghana stands to benefit from. But this has ignited public debate, with a section of the public kicking against it. Defense Minister Dominic Nitiwul clarified the U.S. was not building a military base.
There is no military base. The U.S. have no intention to have a military base, and anybody who says this military base is mischievous, is misleading the people of Ghana and just trying to raise tension in this country. There's nothing like military base, not at all. Yeah. If an American soldier comes here, what is his status? And then the use of some facilities at the airport, full stop.
He added the agreement is in the best interest of Ghana.
Over the next 2 years, in the form of grant and training, and the fact that the Americans will be giving us a lot of aid, which is in excess of $20 million. That I know for a fact. But I'm also saying to you that that is not the reason why anybody will want to have an agreement with a partner.
The two committees are expected to deliberate on the issues, including the financial implications, and advise the House accordingly.
Well, let's stay the steam on this, because a statement just coming through from the minority in Parliament. The minority, the NDC in Parliament, has called for the immediate withdrawal of the security cooperation agreement between Ghana and the United States, which was earlier laid before the House, pending the holding of broad consultation and national discussion. The minority, in a press statement, explained that the agreement in its current form completely betrays the interest of Ghana. The statement reiterates that the Akufo-Addo government cannot disregard genuine concerns by Ghanaians of the sighting of this base in Ghana and the presence of the United States Armed Forces personnel could make the nation a prime target for terrorists. The minority stressed it finds it difficult to appreciate how the government could enter into an agreement from which the country derives nothing, adding it takes note of the claims by the Defense Minister, Dominic Neto, that an amount of $20 million would be given to the Ghana Armed Forces as part of regular support.
We'll certainly follow up on that and bring some more on it in subsequent bulletins. But let's now take a look at our MTN Video report as Martin Yeboah, our citizen journalist, reports from Adrafu, a suburb of Kumasi in the Ashanti region, on the flooding situation in the area.
This is the main road the people of Adrafu utilize in order to carry out their daily activities. When it rains, this is what happens. Everything comes to a standstill. It's simply a death trap trying to cross to the other side of the road. Last year, a couple of students nearly got drowned. It took the intervention of the fire service and some good Samaritans to rescue them. I'm told the MP responsible for this jurisdiction is aware of this and yet has been paying lip service to the situation. Probably he wants to see people die before he walks his talk. My name is Yeboah Martin, reporting from Adrafu, a suburb of Kumasi in the Ashanti region.
And while we highlight these videos, we would want the authorities that have to respond to this to be swift about it. But you can also send your video report via WhatsApp number 0551433 044 0551433 044 as we encourage citizen journalism.
Absolutely, Alfred. And you're still live here on News 360. We've got some business news for you. Next, stay with us. Welcome back to News 360. Let's get into some business news this evening. And we start off with the National Investment Bank, which has launched its anniversary celebration program to mark 55 years of operation. Speaking at the launch, the Vice President, Dr. Mahmoudou Bawumia, said the National Identification System would be rolled out in May to enable Ghanaians facilitate business transactions while creating a conducive environment for accessing of loans.
The National Investment Bank was established 6 years after independence on March 22, 1963, as a development bank to offer financial support to the country's burgeoning industries and businesses. Over the years, the bank has undergone institutional, managerial, and financial restructuring to make it a formidable bank. The bank currently has 52 branches and agencies across the country and hopes to open 3 new branches by the end of this month. The managing director, Dr. John Kweku Asamoah, said 55 years in the life of an institution is worth celebrating as it serves as an opportunity to chart a new course or direction.
We have chalked significant successes over the entire strategic period, and it is evidenced by our strong brand today. However, we are not complacent. We believe that a lot more can be done and needs to be done. The future of our bank looks exciting. We will continue to design products to meet customers' expectations with a view to maximizing value for our shareholders.
The special guest of honor, Vice President Mahmoudou Bawumia, said for the banking system to transform itself, there is the need to roll out a national identification database to uniquely identify individuals in the country.
In the next month or so, we should see the beginning of the rollout of the national ID system. When it is rolled out, it will really give us something that we've never had before. We'll uniquely identify everybody. Of course, the finance minister will be happy because we will transform every national ID number into a tax identification. If we have to do an electoral register, there will be no need for anybody to queue anymore to register for elections, because we will just take everybody in the national ID register above 18, and bam, you have your electoral register, and we'll go and vote.
Vice President Bawumia was assisted by the Minister of Finance, Ken Ofori-Atta, Togbe Afede the 14th, the board chairman of the bank, and Dr. John Kweku Asamoah, the managing director of the bank, to unveil the logo for the celebration. The 55th anniversary is on the theme 55 years of growing Ghanaian businesses. Activities scheduled to commemorate the anniversary include public lectures, health walk, and fun games, as well as a dinner dance and a Thanksgiving service.
Meanwhile, the board chairman of the National Investment Bank, NIB, Togbe Afede, says government has not approached any bank to propose any merger between NIB and Agricultural Development Bank, ADB. The revelation comes as a surprise, as the finance minister, Ken Ofori-Atta, had earlier announced in the 2018 budget presentation in Parliament that government intends to merge the NIB and the ADB to form the National Development Bank.
After the launch of the 55th anniversary celebrations of the National Investment Bank, the board chairman of the bank, Togbe Afede, maintained the bank is not aware of any proposed merger between NIB and ADB. Hence, it is focused on its core duty.
Nothing about merger or otherwise has come to us officially. What we are aware of is government's desire to see NIB return to its core mandate, which will mean supporting industry, supporting one district, one factory, so that our industrial sector can lead the growth of the Ghanaian economy. We are not looking at what is happening or being said on the airwaves, but we are reacting to the things that we are aware of and pursuing our mandate without any distraction. And all that we want to achieve this year, meet the minimum requirement of Bank of Ghana, and also put in place structures that will enable us to support industrial growth.
Togbe Afede the 14th also assured the bank will meet the 400 million cedis capital requirement announced by the Bank of Ghana. This follows some media reports suggesting that the bank is struggling to recapitalize, hence may be merged with ADB.
And the proceeds that we expect from the monetization, we expect that before the end of the year, we would have met that 400 million minimum capital requirement without any external support. That all I ask for is that our shareholders support the strategies that we have put in place, meaning strategies that would bring in the resources that we need without recourse to shareholders.
In some more business news, the managing director of Ghana operations at Unilever, Yose Bouton, has charged multinationals within the country to join hands to engage in sustainable business practices. He was speaking at the commemoration of World Oral Health Day in Accra. Nyong Falong has the following report.
The event, which was dubbed Say Ah, Think Mouth, Think Health, was organized to encourage school children to brush their teeth twice daily in their bid to build a Ghana without tooth decay. The managing director of Ghana operations said Unilever is committed to achieving 10 million active brushes in Ghana by 2020.
It's one of those causes that we are championing because we know a healthier nation means a healthier Unilever. Pepsodent is one of those initiatives. We also know that Unilever is championing education with OMO. Unilever is championing hygiene and sanitation with Lifebuoy. So let me use the opportunity that you're giving me to invite other organizations, multinationals. It is our responsibility to build a sustainable Ghana.
Speaking at the same event, the president of Ghana Dental Association, Dr. Santiapia, urged government to remove VAT and other taxes on the importation of dental equipment in order to make their services cheaper and more accessible.
Please, children, in front of your mirrors in the morning and in the evening when you are brushing, just say ah. Why do you have to say ah? When you say ah, you open your mouth wide enough to be able to see if there are any problems going on in your mouth that you don't like. and then you call the attention of your parents so that you can go and visit the dentist.
School children were taught various oral health practices, including the correct way to brush their teeth.
Pledge to brush day. I pledge to brush night.
And that's all we've got for you on our business segment this evening. Visit our website, it's 3news.com, for some more business stories. And Alfred is standing by to bring us some more on the Bank of Ghana takeover of the management of Unibank.
Absolutely, Natalie. And this is a developing story after that press conference by the Bank of Ghana early today. So Professor Cletus Didono is the CEO and chairman of Clay.Consult and also a public policy analyst. Join me in studio. Prof, thank you for your time. Good evening to you. Now, are we in troubling moment in the banking sector, or this is a confidence move on the part of the Bank of Ghana?
Well, we have both the good news and the bad news aspect of this announcement. In recent times, you are aware that most of our banks, some of our banks were going down the drain. They have capital adequacy difficulties and so on and so forth. But what is disturbing is that just in the back of earlier problems we had in the banking sector, plus the fact that the economy is slowing down on interest rates faster than the banks are responding to it. So banks are not able to come quickly. Then, of course, this is a very disturbing news for many people. But it's also good news to the extent that some of these developments must come to the public. Right. The bad aspect of this news is that it scares, first and foremost, the industry. Sure. And then it has negative repercussions on investment because the very investors are the ones who actually deposit money. But when they run out, they go to borrow money, and the interest rate is not coming down as fast as the economy is dictating, but at the same time, they have a shock in their mind that can I go there and get money? So these are the bad and the good news we are having.
I see. You see, when we chronicle the events that preceded today, I mean, Unibank a couple of weeks ago coming out saying, announcing a purported takeover of ADB, and then the Bank of Ghana comes in, the stock exchange also suspended their listing, restored it after 24 hours, and then this. Already, we are still getting over the developments after the UT Capital Bank liquidation. The governor is saying this is not a liquidation situation. So, but how does all this feed into the already precarious situation, for the lack of better expression, in the financial banking sector?
Well, there is a common denominator in the financial industry. And what is happening now, at least, should bring to the fore that risks are not being properly managed, especially the banks themselves. You need to know all your risks and be able to manage it. And besides, this is a universal bank, so you need to have the metrics, the litany of your risks, the more risky ones, give them attention, look at your balance sheet, and see your assets and your liabilities clearly. The second one is, and this is also very fundamental and linked to the first one, is there is laxity in corporate governance. Clearly, if a bank is being properly governed and the directors are really in control of the bank, right, this thing doesn't happen just overnight. It took some time. And auditors are there, they are looking at the books.
Does it mean something is reported which is not on
the case, which the Bank of Ghana actually cited? But Prof, I want to thank you so much for your time, because we're going to spend a lot of time with you in our subsequent bulletins on this. But thank you so much, as always, for making the time to join us this evening. I'm grateful. Now, Professor Cletus Didonu is CEO, Chairman of Clay.Consult, and a public policy analyst as well. But the Supreme Court has ordered lawyers for the former board chairman of the National Communications Authority, Eugene Baffa-Boni, and 4 others who are facing trial for causing financial loss to the state to file their statement of case within 2 weeks. The Apex Court further directed the Chief State Attorney to, within 2 weeks of receipt of the statement of plaintiffs, file its case.
The Accra High Court hearing the case put on hold proceedings following an application by defense lawyers seeking to have the prosecution make known all witnesses they will be relying on and also make available all the documents it intends to tender as evidence. This was opposed by the prosecution, who argued that the request was seeking an interpretation of aspects of the Constitution, Article 19, 2E and G, a task that can only be performed by the Supreme Court. Delivering his ruling, Justice Eric Cheba said the issue of interpretation arose after lawyers on both sides disagreed on the meaning of the relevant provisions, hence the need to refer the matter to the Supreme Court. The questions expected to be addressed by the justices of the Apex Court are whether accused persons are entitled to comprehensive trial disclosure, at what point this should be done, and whether the accused persons are entitled to all documents, including those the AG may not use in court. The case has been adjourned sine die, thus without appointing a day. The 5 are said to have fraudulently withdrawn some $4 million from NCA account without justification. So far, the NCA's Director of Legal Affairs, Abena Safwiji, is one of the key witnesses who has made an appearance in court.
You're watching News 360 from the News Hub at Adesawe Kanda, streaming all across the world on 3news.com. You can also watch us on DSTV channel 279. We've got sports news with Thierry Nan coming up shortly. Stay with us. Welcome back to News 360. And top on the news on the international front this evening, Facebook boss Mark Zuckerberg has been called on by a UK parliamentary committee to give evidence about the use of personal data by Cambridge Analytica. The consulting firm is accused of harvesting the data of 50 million Facebook users without permission and failing to delete it when told to.
Damian Collins, the chairman of the Commons Inquiry into Fake News, accused Facebook of misleading the committee. London-based firm Cambridge Analytica denies any wrongdoing. Both companies are under scrutiny following claims by a whistleblower, Christopher Whaley, who worked with Cambridge Analytica and alleges it amassed large amounts of data through a personal quiz on Facebook called This Is Your Digital Life. He claims that 270,000 people took the quiz, but the data of some 50 million users, mainly in the US, was harvested without their explicit consent via their friend networks. In a related development, the main opposition coalition in Kenya has told the BBC a full investigation must be carried out into a UK consultancy firm which helped take Kenya's President Uhuru Kenyatta to victory. National Super Alliance NASA official Norman Magaya accused Cambridge Analytica and the ruling party of trying to subvert the people's will. Cambridge Analytica bosses were apparently caught on camera boasting of the control they had exerted in Kenya.
So it's now time for some entertainment news after this break.
Entertainment news is brought to you by
All right, so it's now time for some entertainment news brought to you by Vodafone, Power to You, and FunMax, Fuel Your Day. My name is Nana Kwadwado, and of course, this morning we woke up to some sad news. Legendary high life musician CK Man is dead. The veteran gave up the ghost on Tuesday morning after months of battling ill health. The pioneer high life musician died at age 80.
Charles Kofi Amankwa Man, popularly called CK Man, died Tuesday morning at the GPHA hospital in Takoradi. Born in 1936 in Cape Coast, the iconic highlife musician, guitarist and producer is famed for churning out several admirable and moral-filled songs. The highlifer played the Ocean Strings Band and later became the leader of the Carousel 7 Band in the mid-60s.
Yes, today is more like a sad day for the industry, but we lost Papa Yankson a couple of months ago. But he also spoke and dedicated his VGMA Lifetime Achievement Award to CK Man for discovering him.
Lifetime Achievement Award presented to Benjamin Papa Yankson.
Ladies and gentlemen, I would not have been known as a musician. I would have been known as a stenographer 50 years ago when a good friend of mine, CK Man, a guitarist, leader of the Carousel 7 band, came and said, "Hey, Kofi, let's make a couple band." I said, "What a couple band for what?" And so the owner of the band engaged me as a stenographer and a singer. So I went into music. So, ladies and gentlemen, I dedicate this award to my brother, my friend, CK Man.
So yes, that was all about it. CK Man, and of course, Trust TV3 Entertainment News to be bringing you all the update. Don't forget we are on DSTV channel 279, and don't forget also that we celebrate GH. Hashtag we celebrate GH. Alfred and Natalie.
Absolutely. Thank you, Ken. Thank you so much. Yeah. And please, let's do well to preserve the lives of our legends. And at least their work is important. Thank you for spending your 60 minutes with us here on News 360. My name is Alfred Okansi.
And I'm Natalie Fort. Visit our website, 3news.com, for some more news. And news at 10 days this evening will simulcast on our sister station. That's 3FM 92.7. Next is Sadia. Have a lovely evening.